Welcome back. Today I want to talk about perfection, the idea of perfection and how it relates to God. See, there are many that believe God to be a statement of perfection. It is why the religions of Abraham placed the earth at the center of the universe. I've got a couple of slides here. The first one was one from antiquity. Basically is what the church used to enforce a law, saying that the universe, that the earth was at the center of the universe, and no one could say that it was anything else. And if they did, like say in a science document, like say Galileo or Da Vinci, through their own observations, tried to suggest that the sun was at the center of the universe, what they perceived as the universe at the time. They use that idea of a earth-centered universe as a form of, dictatorial legislation, dictatorial governance. And the reason why they did that was because the heavens are perfect, therefore God is perfect, because the heavens are where God is and they are perfect, and therefore the earth would be at the center to create that state of perfection. Because the earth is, humankind is God's focus. And therefore the earth must be at the center of the universe, as God is in a state of governance as he sits upon a throne. So there you have how that happened. And as the universe is perfect and as God is perfect, change is kind of like something that this dogma cannot accept. When you have a dogma that holds God in a state of perfection, that state of perfection is unchanging, lest it not be so perfect. So the real problem for society then is discovery implies change. And unfortunately, the church cannot accept change because of their dogma that holds God in a state of perfection. So now we have the inherent condition, not inherent, but the true reality of the condition that society is in, where religion cannot accept science, because science is all about change. See, that's why it will always be a theory in science, because a theory leaves the door open for debate, basically leaves the door open for discovery. And unfortunately for all the rest of us in society, religion has shut the door on discovery because of the dogma of perfection that they have crafted. See, they hold God in a state of perfection, and they criminalize individuality because of the way that it doesn't have any place in a society of the perfect. And so religion's authorization to govern is they're going to have to make us perfect for God, see? So therefore, they create this thing called sin, and they prosecute people for it. And it is the inevitable comparison made with a human being as a unique individual, and in that uniqueness is imperfection. The very nature of individuality is difference. The very nature of creation is change. So what we have now in the Christian religion is a dogma that cannot change. Acts of individuality such as self-expression will be criminalized and imperfect and labeled as sin by such a dogma as this. The entirety of the human experience becomes sinful because nothing about being human is perfect. We all admit no one is perfect. It is the source document for endless sermons about the imperfection of the individual and how vile the individual is in comparison to God, then suggesting the individual be disciplined in the most torturous way possible. I'm reading from a a vlog that I posted up on Tumblr. This is an article I posted up on Tumblr, my Tumblr vlog, a couple of years ago. The real crime against God here is not the sin of humanity, as it is this dogma of God in perfection for all the inhumanities and injustices that it has brought and continues to bring upon the earth. Perfection itself is an illusion. For what is perfection to one person is entirely different to someone else. But now we have governance. Now we have religion in a state of governance that has defined what that perfection is. The one life lived in one way only kind of concept that they want to force upon this world and make everybody as whiteified as you can possibly be, because in that whiteification is the American values of sameness. The truth of God here is that he owns all the free will there ever was, and he is free to exercise it. In the exercise of this will, he has set in motion the forces of change that created this universe, which is the structure and process that has brought us, the self-aware, unique individual human being, into existence. With this as his true intent, he has not defined perfection because it is something he does not care about. Now that's the absolute truth. Creation is a process. And as it is a process, it is about change. Therefore, for divine truth to be known in society, the religion that represents it must be able to change. Because now what we have is a religion that cannot change. And as it is stuck in the age of magic and mysticism, it is now a boat anchor upon society, holding it back, not allowing it to progress, because we are leaving the age of magic and mysticism and we are entering the age of deductive logic and reason. Therefore, for this religion to continue to support society for its betterment, that religion must change to a dogma that supports logic, science, and discovery. See, the fact of the matter is, evolution is a fact. It is an absolute fact. Look, there is reptilian DNA within the human genome, proving evolution of fact. But see, what that science also reveals is a divine truth that religion is so stuck in the past about that it will not be able to discover as long as it has that dogma of God and perfection. Okay? There is a footprint of creation within the human genome that proves the human experience a divine one. And that is, there is no gene for self-awareness. There is no gene for the self-awareness of one's own unique individuality, one's true perception of self. There is no gene for that. And as there is no gene for it, that is God's footprint. That is the structure he stands upon to show us the truth that the universe was constructed as a response to his will. You see, this factor of self-awareness, self-awareness of one's own uniqueness, being our primary obsession in life, is everything we do uniquely because of that self-awareness. And in that uniqueness, everything we do uniquely, is the source of our inventiveness and our adaptability. That is what has raised us exponentially above the animal world. It is the source of our art, because we have a unique perspective on the world and we want to share it, because we know we are unique and individual. And therefore, that is proof of the divine connection. is in the art that we have, that is in our record. So you see, it is not what is there, it is what is not there that is the true divine. Something I don't have a word for, unfortunately. It's like, see, what science also proves is that everything in this universe came from nothing. Whoa! Religion can't handle that. Because they have what they call, what is it? In their attempt to enforce Christianity upon people, they created this program called intelligent design, or, well, it's basically creationism in a bag, more or less. And then part of that is the intelligent design concept. They don't even understand science, where they don't even get the idea what a theory is. Anyway, they have in there what they call intelligent design, and that's where they try to prove God. They try to lay out the same thing I'm laying out, except they're incompetent at it, so they lay out the bullshit. But what they have there is they have a big part of that intelligent design thing is a thing called irreducible simplicity, where the created item is so complex and yet cannot be any more simple, and therefore it has an irreducible simplicity. They're trying to say that the item appeared in the anthropological record completely formed and doesn't have any steps to prove evolution. Well, that just isn't the case, because what that does, see, is that doesn't prove divinity. What that proves, then, is it proves that life on this earth was seeded from an extraterrestrial being. That's what that really proves. It doesn't prove divinity. Because the proof of divinity is how things really are, where we can show, science can show, that step by step, sequentially, it all came from nothing. Because in that nothingness is the divine thought of creation. Too bad for us today that religion just doesn't get it. But God has set forward the motion of the universe, so to speak, that will bring about the change that will correct all of this. So, like it or not, religion will change. That's all for today. See you next time.